I don't know if we have to go into this at this moment, but we're going to learn about bones in other chapters in detail. So blood, heme, this is the root word, okay, or hemato, it comes from the word, it becomes the word blood, and lymph. Extracellular matrix, only liquid plasma. The red blood cells are called erythrocytes. That's red blood cells. Leukocyte is called white blood cells, and thrombocytes are cells that makes thrombus, which is it's a clotting factor. Okay, you can see actually here the erythrocytes are the red ones, lymphocyte, and these little guy right there, these small ones, I don't know if it's just my screen or what. Yeah, right there, this purple one, that's a thrombocyte. Okay, I think there's another one. Oh, that's my screen. I thought there was one there. So that's for this chart. Okay, a lot of memorization. So this is just a basic overview. We're going to go into detail of each one of them. Okay, very, very detailed. So muscles. Muscle is a type of connective tissue, right? It's it helps with movement. Every time a muscle moves, it needs to be excited, and then it will contract. There's different types of muscle, voluntary and involuntary muscles. So there are three types of muscles: cardiac muscles, skeletal muscle, and smooth muscles. So skeletal muscle, as you know, let me see if it's in here. Yeah, we're going to go through them. Skeletal is in your skeleton. Cardiac is in your heart, and smooth muscle is involuntary. It lines your organs, muscles of the organs. But we're going to look at them. So you need to make a chart as well, classify them, so you don't get them confused. Okay. So skeletal muscle. Locomotion, 40% of the mass. Skeletal muscle obviously is your skeleton stuff. Okay. They normally voluntary control. Okay. So you don't have to worry about this right now. So all skeletal muscles are voluntary. That means you control it. You tell it to move. Okay. And one thing about the skeletal muscle is that it is striated. It's got little strides like this. Okay, these are called striation. So skeletal muscle is two things you need to remember: voluntary, striated. Okay. Smooth muscle. You can see the reason they call it smooth. It is not striated. Okay. And it is involuntary. And these are your organs. See, when you move, when you digest, you need muscles to move all these food. So it is involuntary. These are called smooth muscles. Okay. They are spindle shaped and not striated. Look, they're very smooth. And, one thing to remember as well, they only have one nucleus. See, this one is multinucleated. Multinucleated. Okay, it's got multiple nucleus. Last thing to remember is your heart muscle. So the heart muscle is kind of a combination of them both, because it is involuntary, right? Involuntary, so you cannot tell your heart to stop or pump whenever it wants to. So it is involuntary, but at the same time, it is striated. Okay, it is striated. And at the same time, it only has one nucleus and not multiple nucleus. Okay? All right? So, skeletal muscle, striated, multinucleated. Okay? Smooth muscles, non-striated, is involuntary, and spindle shape, and it's got one nucleus. And the cardiac muscles, striated, involuntary, and one nucleus. Later we're going to learn about intercalated disc and all that, so don't worry about it right now. Nerve cells. Everybody will know what nerve does. It's to feel, your perception, coordination, control your responses. So the nerve cells are called neurons. Okay? Neurons. So there are different types of neurons. Okay? Neurons are the actual nerve cells. The neuroglia is the supporting cells. Supporting cells. So neuroglia is the supporting cells. It nourish and protect and insulate the cell. So the cell, the nerve cells, here you see this long little tail looking thing. It's called an axon. Okay, these on the head of where the nucleus is. So information will come in right here from another axon, so another tail from another guy. Okay, from another cell come in here, and then it passes the information down here, and it shoots down this way to the axon, and it's in contact with another cell. So it could be in a nerve cell, or it could be in contact with a muscle cell, tell it to move or whatever. So here's a cell body. They're dendrites. Okay. It receives information, and the axon will generate something called an action potential. So the nerve impulses travel down the axon, go to another cell. Let's see. Okay, they want you to know this as well. Oligodendrocytes. So it's just different types of cells around the nerve. Oligodendrocytes, it makes these things called the myelin sheaths. Myelin sheaths, it insulates and it protects the nerve axon. Okay. Schwann cells. Oh, they don't have one here. They want you to know Schwann cells. Schwann cells, it produces myelin. So Schwann cell and oligodendrocytes are pretty much the same thing, but Schwann cell, it's in the peripheral nervous system. Oligodendrocyte is in the central nervous system. Remember, the central nervous system is in your brain and down your spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system is anything outside of the spine. So oligodendrocyte makes myelin, and same thing with Schwann cells, but Schwann cell is in the peripheral nervous system. When you have inflammation, okay, it is the initial response to an injury, okay. It actually helps limits the injury. So if you don't have an inflammation, okay, your body doesn't know that you're hurt. Okay, so it causes inflammation. It will tell you to move away or whatever. Okay, and it will start to repair and regenerate the damaged tissue. That's why it will help limit the injury. Tries to eliminate the cause of injury and initiate repair and regeneration. We see here, there's an injury there, and then the body will start, so these are these are white blood cells or macrophage, it will actually move into the site of the inflammation, site of the injury because of inflammation. A lot more blood will go in there. Okay. And then these are chemical releases to signal more macrophages or whatever to come. And then later on, remember we saw those little thrombocytes? They will start forming a clot, and then tissue will start repairing. Okay, so that's how the inflammation process works. In the body, very few processes improve with age. We are variable seen due to genetic information lifestyles. Okay, ultimately, your body wants to have homeostasis. Again, I think we talked about tumor just a little bit and cancer. Tumors begin with one mutation in the control of the cell cycle. It goes rogue. Okay, but a tumor is something that's enclosed, encapsulated. Okay, the body controls it. Okay, so cancer will start with any dividing cell, but the most common cell types of cancer are carcinoma, which comes from the epithelial cells, sarcoma, which comes from the connective tissues, and myeloma comes from myeloid or blood cells. Okay. For example, I don't know if you've heard of osteosarcoma. Osteo again is bone. Sarcoma is cancer. So bone, cancer. Okay. And bone is a connective tissue. Okay, that would be the end of chapter 4. If you have any question, please ask me during lab.